Good afternoon, Professor Villarreal. Today, I would like to talk about the important topic that is applied linguistics. In the applied linguistics, we have several topic and the content and the important concept we're going to take about when we're going to teach to the student. But like a student, also like the teacher, only we have to take the important point when we are teaching or when we are learning because depend on us that finally like a student or like a teacher um, we can get more learning or we can get more knowledge about the topic what we are learning. For example, in this case, I would like to take about the some of important concept according my point of views. In this case, we can see that in the applied linguistics, the relevant aspect and the how can apply the language teaching methodology as a teacher, the future applied linguistics, and then finally the conclusion. And the relevant aspect according all the information that the model have, uh, I consider the most important concept in the content is interdisciplinary nature, real world application, language acquisition and teaching, research and critical thinking, and technology integration and socio-cultural awareness. Each of the concepts has the many importance in the learning environment or can be importance in the teaching environment. For example, the technological integration. In the technological integration, in my point of view, I think that we have to apply according the situation, according the necessity that the student, we must or we have to apply that technology and the different technological tool according the student necessity. We have to consider as a teacher and try to implement in the educational environment when we are teaching. And the other concept that important for me could be sociocultural awareness. The sociocultural awareness, in some case, the society they they didn't know about the some information that we can have as a teacher. Why did which is the role of the teacher in this case? Mm, the role of the teacher in this case could be integrate in the society, integrate the community in the learning or the teaching process. In the other hand, we can see or we can talk about the how can apply the language teaching methodology as a teacher. As a future teacher, in my case, in my case, I could apply depending the situation, depending the places. Apply language teaching methodology as an English teacher means using different approaches and techniques to help your student learn effectively. For example, grammar, translation method, and direct method. In this part, It's important to recognize in different time accounts when we are teaching is very useful. The grammar rule, the grammar application in the all the process when we are teaching, because depend that the student going to get the best of the world learning. However, the direct method is the other important teaching, is the other important uh, concept that we have to take in consideration as a teacher. Because when you are a teacher, do you have the most important? Do you have the big responsibility? Why is big responsibility? Is big responsibility because depend depend on the knowledge that you share with the student, depend that thing that you are teaching to your student, the student going to assimilate, going to capture, going to take the more relevant the more relevant concept. The grammar translation method is a technique that don't have take or left when you are teaching. In this process is very important for the student is recognize and know how to apply during the important process, because this is a soul of the learning. For me, this is a soul of the learning. And the third one, what are the future direction of the applied linguistics use on the world? In my own world, in the coming year, applied linguistics is expected and focus more interdisciplinary collaboration. Experts from fields like psychology, sociology, education, and solve complete language related problem, and another emerging area in this study of language and identify exploring how language shape who are the how we relate to another. Another hand, this part means this part can see in the future. How do you want to see your words? How do you want to see your teaching apply in the student? In the conclusion for me is all this concept is important. Why? Because in the English learning process is very difficult for each student when we are a student, when we are learning, when we are taking some course or some knowledge about the abroad language or other language that not is our mother tongue or our native language, because uh, that thing become for difficult for us. Why? Because our environment is totally different. For that reason, I think that the process is a little complicated for us. For example, the teacher when they are a student, I think that they face a problem when they are learning. The same way for the student, they could have the same problem when we are learning. For that reason, when we are teaching about the linguistic, uh, we have the model way, we have uh, take account the some important concept, uh, apply the good methodology, good technique, then that not going to be difficult for the student. Why? Because when the student see the complication, or see the some process difficult for us for they, when they are learning, they are get tired, they are get uh, scared, afraid, and the teaching process gonna be negative. For a reason, it's important for us as a future teacher take account all the important concept, all the important advice when we are teaching. Thank you.